part of Biz Today Show, and I'm your host, Anthony Molino. And now it's time for your favorite segment, which is Art Talk, with the lovely and talented Susana Baker. Suzanne, how are you doing today, love?
Good morning. I'm doing as good as I can, and we're very fortunate to be here in the United States. I have to tell you, Miami is a wonderful city with so many cultures, the influx of so many people coming from around the world. Last week, we started to launch the Little Havana Art Experience, and part of that tour starts on the water in the Miami River. And it's all about talking about freedom and people searching for new frontiers. And so from the Tequesta Indians to the Spanish settlers to the English settlers to the Julia Tuttles, the Flaglers, and to all the great people that came to find their dream of freedom and a better life. And so we're proud in the United States we have those rights. And we need to empower and recognize other countries that are suffering and going through an oppression. And no democratic city or individual should live through what is happening right now in Venezuela. And so this show is dedicated for our Venezuelan community here in Miami, for Venezuela, and for people in the world all over, all Latin countries, no matter where you're from. The right to be human, the right to have freedom of speech, the right to express yourself is such an important value. And it's what every man, child, and woman is born with. And to be taken that right away is worse than an animal. And so with that said, I have one of my dearest friends who is an amazing artist who has lived his whole life interpreting his expressions on oil, on acrylics, on wood plastic, you name it. This man creates and brings out beautiful voices in his works. And so today's show, I bring my dear friend, multimedia Venezuelan artist Eleazar Delgado.
Thank you, Susana. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I know, Eleazar, I have seen your Facebook post. I have heard your cries for your people. My heart breaks for us, because we are one tribe, one love. And to see what's going on in Venezuela is just, it's unthinkable. And then again, the empowerment to all those students and citizens by poured onto the street of Venezuela. Tell me what your feeling was when you first heard about it, and did you see this coming?
Of course, I saw it coming. One of the reasons I moved to the States was when I realized that this was going to go bad. The Venezuelan situation is a little complex. People outside the country do not understand what is really happening. All our institutions have been kidnapped by the state, and they are run by the state, so there is no institution where you can go and make a petition or that your voice is going to be heard. So the students have been fighting for the past 13 years, trying to get their voice heard. They have gone to elections. The elections have been tampered with. Right. Everything has been thrown away, so there's no evidence to pick it up. So the students got tired and said, you know what, we want a better future. We want to fight for our country. If this is the way, then we have to do it. I've been saying to Venezuelans for the past 15 years, we are not going to get rid of this regime if we don't go into a bloodbath. There was no way. They have been buying armaments from the Russians and everybody around for the past 10 years, saying that they were going to defend the revolution and the social injustice with all this armament, but actually they're using the armament now against the people.
It's true. I've seen that, Maduro, Nicolas Maduro, the socialist president there, he has created these militias on these motorcycles, and he tries to act like it's a group of people and citizens that are for him, but the truth is they're basically henchmen. You know,
Yes.
they're there to totally
They-
take away the voices and, you know, from stopping the presses and the newspaper and recently outcasting CNN. I understand they're back, but they're back like, you know, really like puppets because they can't air
they cannot
or
air
show
anything.
anything. They stopped any kind of broadcasting or any kind of press. So the only way we could bring any kind of recognition and empowerment to Venezuela is through the United States and through social media, which even that Maduro has stopped Twitter and social media in Venezuela,
Yes.
which is crazy. And so,
not only that,
Yeah.
they have been cutting power. They have been tampering with internet connections, and they have been tampering Facebook and Twitter. So the media outlets are super limited.
now I want to ask you, and I know, you know, this is again, you know, this is all something that you have been seeing, and the Venezuelan people and the community were seeing this had to come to a halt.
Yes.
And we saw it when the first biggest government military general, which was Vives, who you know, he himself was ousted when he decided 5 years ago not to have his men take the oath of Cuba, you know, one socialism para la muerte, for death. And so he
Yes.
was ousted from the government, and he was one of the first to criticize what was happening in the Chavismo movement. And so here you got, slowly but surely, generals, people. I know there's another one that is with Nicolas Maduro that's also saying from Tarif, that's saying, look, you know, I was voted as a governor to my people, and I'm not in conjunction of what's happening to these students. So he's also taking a stance against Maduro. So what do you want? What do you think is the ideal way of diffusing this? Is to do this, you know, because Maduro's saying this is the U.S., this is us brainwashing the students for a coup. Now, obviously, he has to leave in order for change to come.
That's going to be hard because actually they have been creating a militia for the past 15 years. They have training camps. They have bought all these armaments. They have brought people from Ireland, from Israel, from the Middle East, and Colombia to train their militia. So actually what we are facing now is a civil war in the making. Maduro wants the people to fight against people. The students don't have guns, period. They are marching with a bicycle helmet, their flag, and water to just protect them from the freaking pepper gas that they are throwing at us. This has been going on for years, and people outside Venezuela do not know this. So I don't know what else to do. It has come to that point that the Venezuelans are just numb by all this violence. And I hope that they stay on the streets. It's the only way.
Yeah, I was reading where some of the businessmen are trying to get their kids to school and trying to keep you know, the businesses open. And then I was reading some of the student protesters saying, look, you know, unfortunately, this is the only way we're going to be heard and listened, by paralyzing all the, you know, Venezuela, to paralyze it, to form barricades and important buildings and government and so on, to stop, in order for the voice and the cameras to be seen. And so I know a lot of these students, and it's so a shame because Venezuela is such an oil-rich country with such an amazing asset. And for those people to live so poor, where there's like no food, no paper. I mean, it's gotten to the point where the highest inflation, the most dangerous country in the world, I think ranks number 3 is Venezuela. And I mean, I know your people. You got beautiful women, great artists, fabulous food. I mean, you know, here's a country that should be looking at a whole nother scenario. And it's sad when you got these dictators that try, because of their egos, destroy and take the voice of their community, of their country, you know? And so how can we help here as a citizen of Miami, as a Venezuelan resident, as an American, Cuban, Irish, French? How can we help to get that that going further in as much peace and less bloodshed, but to be help to enforce and empower what the Venezuelan people are going through.
There are certain petitions running on online from change.org.
Change, like CHANGE.org.
Yes, there are petitions being signed through the White House. There are petitions being signed through the UN and the American Association of States.
So, and that petition says, what does that petition
Stop the genocide.
Stop the genocide.
They're killing our people.
They're killing. So basically, the Venezuelan people would want the United States to go down there and stop it by military force?
By now, we just want anybody to stop this bloodshed.
Anybody. So it could be England, France, whoever will go in.
United Nations, perhaps. Someone needs to get involved, and that's the thing. People sit by and watch until it becomes too late. But, you know, we go into other countries that are much smaller with a lot less disturbance, and here we have a major country with a major disturbance, and we seem to sit by and watch. So, you know, I think it's like grassroots programs like we're doing now on this radio program. People need to start talking about it so people start getting involved.
I agree. You know, honestly, I know that Obama and Maduro has been asking for a conversation with Obama. I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm sure we'll be hearing soon an address of the State of the Union. I'm sure will be coming on because we have a large Venezuelan community. Now, you could probably answer this better than I. How many Venezuelans live in Miami? Do you know?
There's all around 150,000.
150,000. Mostly in Doral, right?
Doral, Weston, and
Weston.
Aventura.
I'll say mostly in Weston.
Yeah.
Doral and Aventura.
And Aventura. And in the United States, do you know more or less how many Venezuelans? I mean, I'm sure we can
It's
Google
around 250,000 people in the States. Yeah. No, actually, there are certain maps that are already tracking the Venezuelan immigration. So, yes, and it has been happening for a while.
And that's legal. I'm sure there's a lot under the banner.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Which is not my dear friend Eleazar Delgado, just for anybody else listening out there. But I have to tell you, you know, at this point we're bringing the show to an end. And Eleazar, you know, you have colored this community with all your beautiful canvases and all your beautiful paintings. And you're one of the most inspirational artists to young, emerging, you're a mid-career artist. You know, your works are shown and collected by very big collectors. And I know how much pain you have. And I would love to let's work out maybe a Venezuelan function where you could do some art based on this and maybe invite some more Venezuelan artists. Let's talk to someone and let's make some type of fundraiser to help and donate back. Let's think of something because EleazarDelgado.com, right? DELGADO. Eleazar is ELEAZAR. And remember, change.com. Would you like to say .org? Change.org for the petition. Sign it. Send it to the UN. Send it to Washington. Share this voice. Now tell us what you would like to leave the air with to tell our listeners.
Please do not stop talking. We need to keep talking. We need to keep on the streets. We need the world to see what's happening in Venezuela.
We need to empower our Venezuelan friends, community, and the beautiful people and country of Venezuela. I only say may God just always protect and empower your people, empower us all. Freedom of speech, freedom to live, freedom to die in dignity. All these things are human rights. And when they're taken away by these dictators, I say do not tolerate dictators anymore. God bless Venezuela, and God bless the Venezuelan people. Thank you, Eleazar.
Thank you, Susana.
And thank you. And you've heard another great segment of Arttalk by a lovely and talented